there's a reasonable doubt surrounding their ability to repeat as champions. But do you even know what Skittles are, Poppy?
See, they're a tasty rainbow.
Listen, the Seahawks aren't going to face anything in the playoffs except for misery, pain, and suffering felt at the hands of their adversaries. Now give me some of them Skittles.
Oh, no problemo. Stay on question. Which show carries the Onion Network on its back?
The box score.
Start right now.
I don't know a lot about sports, but I can drink a lot of beer.
My motto is simple. C's get degrees.
Need a long, inappropriate hug? I'm your man.
I think I'm smarter than you.
Because I probably am.
Power College for box score.
Hello, welcome to the Box Score. I'm Brock in Los Angeles, joined by the Danets in Milford, Connecticut. Guys, the sports world is abuzz after the Cowboys crushed the Bears last night. Paulie, allegiances aside, as a producer, which NFL team are you rooting for to go all the way?
As a producer, wow. I would say Patriots have a lot of storylines. Green Bay is a great team and a great franchise and fan base, but I would say Dallas versus the Patriots would have the best storylines. And I couldn't imagine, unless you guys want to try to top it, I haven't given much thought, but from a storyline standpoint, a star power standpoint, you have a star owner, coach, players in Dallas, superstar, Robert Kraft's pretty powerful in Boston, Brady, it's Belichick, it's too easy.
I think 49ers is interesting because of Harbaugh and all the sort of like rumors about his future.
That'd be
if they
right
were to
there.
make it back to the Super Bowl,
With all the negativity around
or
it.
get to the Super Bowl.
That would be so
whoa.
crazy if the Oakland Raiders somehow found their way in the game.
Having a serious talk.
Probably unlikely.
I think you're joking because they were mad. You're mad that they didn't go to you for the
Yeah.
football opinion.
Yeah, and then like you should have gone Dallas first. That's what I was saying. All the ratings.
I
were-
did go Dallas first.
Well, you threw around Green Bay and New England and some other teams in there.
Which two would you take, football expert?
New England and Dallas.
Yeah.
Well, the Cowboys, of course, and despite the Cowboys' big win, someone always finds a way to be mad, and he sounded off today.
But I will tell you one thing, Danny. I am sick and tired of this Des Bryant narrative. Y'all need to leave that man alone. Until I start reading stories about Tom Brady and his immaturity, I don't want to hear a damn thing about Des Bryant. We got a whole week of jokes after Gronkowski picked that man up and threw him into a damn camera. But that's just Gronk being Gronk. He didn't lose control of his emotions. No. That's just some frat boy humor. We can all talk about getting thrown out the club.
How can you be in a bad mood after you score 41 points?
Look at the defense, Paulie. Look at the defense. Jay Cutler did what he did. What do you think Andrew Luck's going to do? 0 sacks. How deep this team going to go in the playoffs with no pass rush?
I really couldn't tell if Shea was all that mad actually because the phone line was so bad. But he is able to find some type of anger motivation seemingly out of nothing. Like I would hate to order coffee, in front of him at Starbucks. I do. Doesn't sound like
What happens if the Cowboys win the Super Bowl? Is he mad about something?
He'll be mad about the spread, the amount of points that they didn't win by enough points, or something that happened in the game. I think he also realizes how much more entertaining he is when he's pissed off about something. And I'm not saying it was enhanced necessarily in this particular phone call, but he's a much more fun guy when he's all upset about something than to just say, "Hey, yeah, exciting, great win last night."
Angry is his brand, but after Shea's phone line was questioned, Fritzy, you lashed out like an angry possum backed into a corner.
Blow it up. Take the ginger back to the East Coast. Lacrosse needs him. I'm tired of it.
All right. Well, have a good weekend.
Whatever.
All right. Fritzy, can I get a good phone line?
You better be joking right now.
Did you hear?
I heard it. That's not from the guest hotline. That's one of the listener lines.
Who's in charge?
I'm not throwing anyone under the bus two-a-days, but I don't know. It sounds like
you just did.
Oh, I did say that. I said two-a-days. It sounded like he was kind of falling underwater there. He was like at the bottom of a pool. I hope he floats back up to the top at some point.
Yeah, that line was definitely questionable. I've had my share of those experiences. I saw Seton leaning over to Paulie, so there was something whispering going on, but I couldn't make out exactly what they were saying. And I'm like, they wouldn't be that mean, knowing how upset I get, and I get blamed for all the guests that have the bad phone lines. Also, that the listeners and the people that call in, that's going to get blamed on me too.
Well, it's not two-a-days' fault, right?
You know what? based on my excuses, which you guys don't really like to accept as fact, it could have been fine when Dano was talking to them, and when Two-A-Days was speaking to them, maybe everything was fine. And then from the time he put him on hold to the time we put him on air, it got messed up. But it was poor. I did throw Two-A-Days under the bus to save myself. And yeah, I was annoyed, not knowing for sure if this was a stage thing, that Dan would call me out and say, "What's with the phone line? I better listen to call."
I think at this point, what we've really established is that Todd has a certain amount of ownership over the phone lines, regardless of who the guest or caller is.
Right.
If you think phone line, you think, oh, Todd. And I think that's why you go to Todd. What happened to the phone line? Todd should address this with Two-A-Days to make sure that Two-A-Days is also following the proper procedure of talking people through certain things, making sure the phone line is crisp, clear.
So you're not saying Todd is like technically, he's not the technical.
He's certainly not technical. You could never put Todd and technical in the same sentence, ever.
That is true.
But the phone line quality, it falls under the Todd Fritz umbrella.
But it's just frustrating because the phone lines, they don't stay the same. Someone could be in a car or they're moving from room to room or they're tilting their head. You could talk to someone for 10, 20, 30, 40 seconds, whether it's Two-A-Days with the callers or me with the guests, and it can sound fine. And then all of a sudden, from the time they're on hold and through the duration of an interview, things can change somehow, and all of a sudden it gets messy, and then it's my fault.
Any chance Shay and Irving is so good that he threw the call to create a buzz and
he's produced.
Yeah, he produced a wah 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 phone line.
That would be pretty impressive if he made
Don't
it
it sound like those old Sports Illustrated phones that were actually, when you hit them, it go brrr, brrr. Maybe it's on
football
old Sports Illustrated
Internet phone lines, man.
Yeah, I know.
Well, another
the
guy that
job
was
twos.
under fire today was you, McLovin, and you're against the grain segment. Recap your bet with the boss.
Well, Dan said if my Against the Grain wasn't good, then I would face the wheel of punishment.
Well, McLovin escaped the wheel today with this beauty called Against the Grain.
Okay, Dan, for today's Against the Grain, we are doing a top 5 redo of the 2014 draft.
Why does Two-A-Days have a poster board in front of
No
you?
reason, Dan. No reason. Ready to go? All right, ready? Here you go. Number 1.
Dan, I got Houston going with Khalil Mack here. You've got Jadeveon Clowney, obviously the injury, he's out for the year. If they had to do it all over again, I think they go with Khalil Mack.
Daniel.
He'd be a perfect fit in Houston.
Okay, so this is Daniel Jeremiah from the NFL Network.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is. A former scout with the NFL. Continue, Daniel. I know what McLovin's up to.
What do you mean?
I like when you got up and started walking around. That was the best.
You know what? When I saw what was going on there, McLovin was working hard all show. He's like, when can we do this? We got to figure out, got to get another person on the line. And I asked him, I go, any other things I need to know about Against the Grain? He goes, yeah, I'm going to have Two-A-Days walk over the big black sheet and put it over Dan's head during the segment. I'm like, got it. And I didn't even say anything. I'm like, this is going to be fantastic. And I was like, I don't know why you would put a big sheet over Dan's head. It ended up just being a piece of cardboard, but either way, I was like, this is going to be interesting.
It was interesting. Okay, coming up, a performance by the one and only Todd Fritz Rock. Yeah, that's it.
Fritzy's been working on his Chris Rock impersonation. He wants to do it for Chris Rock. Okay.
Tired of all this stuff about white Hollywood. Tired. Who's that woman that didn't get off the seat off the bus there? You sure it was a woman? When I took African American studies, I thought I was going to get all A's. I thought the answer to everything was Martin Luther King. Tina Luther King? Are you sure it was a woman?
We are back here on the box score. Todd, that was amazing. Paulie, which Danette do you think would do the best job as a stand-up comic, though?
Probably Todd, because he's watched a lot of stand-up. He's got good comedic timing. He may need a writer for some of the things he does, and I'm not really ripping him here because, stand-up comedy is about the hardest thing in the world. But Todd has very good comedic timing. I don't know if Seton or I could do it. I don't feel I could do it. I don't know, Seton, what you think. It would take a long time.
Seton could use the guitar, which is a huge prop.
McLovin, you could, but you'd have to be like a novelty guy, like, what was that guy?
Gallagher.
No, there was that guy in the 80s and 90s who had glasses and big hair.
Jake Johansson.
You'd be a Jake Johansson-esque type of guy. Fritzy has the manic personality to, if it was written all, he'd be nice.
No joke. I've secretly, privately desired the like becoming a stand-up comic. I really do. Where I'm like, man, I really want to do
How
that.
great a feeling
but I
must
don't
that
have
be?
any I don't have the guts to do it, and I really don't have the writing ability to do it. But in my head, I'm like, dude, that would be so rad. Stand
Yeah.
up there telling jokes.
Oh, I admire that so much. To get a group of all ages and ethnic backgrounds all laughing at the same thing, whether it's a facial expression or
great.
something you came up with that everyone in the world can relate to, that finds hysterically funny, and just when they're finally catching their breath, you hit them with something else and they're hysterical again, or they're doubled over, or food or drinks coming out of their mouth. Well, what's better than, it's such a great feeling to make people
It's a
laugh.
very sensual description you just gave there.
It is a little
I find it very daunting from the standpoint. I was just thinking in my head, like, what if
Had to
he
do a lot of jokes with his mic.
a lot?
I've done some stand up for Seton and drives in the car or on the
Oh,
train.
so
if you
good,
catch me in the right mood, if you're neurotic enough, and
Not for kids.
you know, and as long as you keep your meds out of balance and you're crazy enough. Then,
One time we were in New York City, and Todd and I got off the subway, and from the subway to our hotel is maybe like 5 blocks or so. It's like a 5-minute walk. So Todd did the best 5 minutes of stand-up I'd ever seen, where he would incorporate
remember what I
people
was
walking by.
talking about.
We got into the lobby of the hotel room, we're checking in, he's working these people in, like, hey, look at this guy, what's his story? Hey, you ever think
where you from?
You're like, whoa, look at this dude.
And then it's funny because Todd will do that. I've been with him when he does it too. He'll speak for 5 minutes, then not speak for 23 hours and 55.
that is odd. He's not even exaggerating. I could look like the most sociable person in the world, and I'm saying all these crazy things, and all of a sudden a guest cancels or something, or just whatever it is, and now I'm like in this really sour mood, and I will totally ignore all of them, literally until I see them the next morning, which could be literally like 15, 20 hours later.
We'll go to like a client dinner or a sponsor dinner, whatever it may be. And Todd either does this and doesn't say one word
Well, you can't
for
shut
2
me up.
hours, or once it starts, it doesn't go off until Dan actually says, Todd.
He's on the verge of costing us millions of dollars.
It's only happened a couple times.
Yeah, that was bad.
Well, Fritzy, you were pretty quiet when you were getting that call from Paramount, hearing that Chris Rock, who was supposed to be on, canceled. Why would you want to end the week on such a disappointing note?
It was very, very aggravating, and it happens from time to time. But you know, you feel like I feel like I'm letting them down, even though they're trying to, you know, appease me and make me not jump off a cliff. That it's not my fault. I can only control so much from, you know, my desk in Milford, Connecticut. But when, you know, someone's telling you this person's going to be on at a certain time and the commitment is made, and I've reminded them 5, 10, 20 times, and all the research is done, the video and the graphics and editing, all the things that go into it. The listeners, viewers, they're all preparing to see and hear Chris Rock, and then it doesn't happen. You know, I take that personally, and it was really, especially on a Friday, it could totally mess up one's weekend and aggravate you to no end and rise the blood pressure.
Well, let me ask you, McLovin, what effect will this have on Fritzy's weekend?
Oh, you know what? Fritzy, there's a little bit of, I'm going to call you out here.
Okay.
It's a little egomaniacal. You think that, because if you think that everything goes wrong because of you and you blame yourself, that means on some level you think everything goes right because of you. You need to let go, dude.
I do. I spend a lot more time on like feeling responsible for something that goes wrong than right. I take a lot of pride, no doubt, if we get like a.
But that's ego too, dude.
I guess so, but that's part of the reason why I've continued doing this in spite of all the stress that it gives me, is that high of coming through, and like if we all want a certain big name newsy guest on, and we get that person.
Do
and
you
we
get that high?
The low is much worse than the high.
Do you have to have the stress to get the high?
For me, 10 years ago, the lows sucked. I hated when we had a bad show. And I was much more internal about it and didn't tell anybody. And didn't really told anybody except maybe my girlfriend or my wife. And then I think maybe 3 or 4 years ago, I started enjoying the highs and shaking off the lows. You know, because I know, first of all, we have another show tomorrow. And that doesn't mean blow off one for the next. But sometimes you do the absolute best you could do. If you did something wrong, that's when it sucks. If you didn't do enough. And once in a while, I've said to myself, hey, you didn't do enough here, and you could have done this, or you forgot something, and it could have been a home run instead of a triple. That bothers me, but it bothers me for about 15 minutes after the show. Then I get a sandwich with these guys, and I move on, because if I'm worried about yesterday, then tomorrow sucks.
Think of what it was like when we first got on the air and would like flub a joke or a line or something. You'd be like, oh my God, I'm so horrified right now.
You replay it in your head 20 times.
Like the other day, I did the Alice Cooper thing, right, to end the show. Oh, Alice Cooper. It's like, yeah, that's what the guy just said. I'm like, oh crap. In the old days, I would have been horrified and like, probably, I'm not going to speak now for like the rest of the show. Maybe not even Monday. Like, I'm not going to say anything. Now I'm like, oh, what an idiot.
Yeah. I will know, by the way, Paulie's the best because Dan will sometimes really yell at Paulie, more so than the other guys. You'll immediately...
no, not more often. More when it happens, it's stronger.
It's a little more real. Yeah, and you are very good at moving past that. I think everybody follows your lead because if you stewed in it, then we would stew in it.
But Dan yells at me in a different way. It's rarely on the air. It's like once a year off the air. Yeah. And, you know, again, 8-10 years ago, I'd have been like, oh, what's going to happen? Oh. Now I'm like, hey, man, if he didn't want me here, I would be gone. Right. If he wants me here, I'm here.
And he knows how much each of us can take. Paul, unlike myself, Paul, even all these guys, there's a toughness and maturity to be able to say, okay, he said what he had to say, and we'll move on, as opposed to letting it fester and aggravate you and replay the conversation over and over again.
I'm defensive in a very different way. When I'm attacked, I'm not as defensive as if I just strike back harder.
It's a confrontation.
Yes.
It's an immediate, like, all right, let's put up your dukes.
Yeah, and I want to end it in 1 second. I won't harbor. Things don't bother me for more than a minute or two. But if it bothers me for that 10 seconds, if someone says something, I like strike back to try like, hey, you're gonna jab me, I'll jab you twice as hard to try to cut your throat, and then the whole situation's over. And I know it's a very weird way to be, but it's just my style compared to Fritzy's or anybody else.
It makes confrontation a lot more
Well,
pleasant.
that mustache is confrontational. Stick around.
Yeah,
let's sort of lift up everyone's spirits. We're going to find out which Danette is the most worthless. Stay with us. And how dare anyone out there make fun of Fritzy after all he's been through? All you people care about is who he does and doesn't book. He's a human! What you don't realize is Fritzy is booking all these guests, and all you do is say a bunch of crap about him. He does mock headlines, but that's never enough. All you people want is more! Leave him alone! You're lucky he even calls anyone for you bastards! Leave Fritzy alone! You feel better, Todd. Okay, well, we are back here on the box
I feel
score.
a lot better.
We know
a lot better.
We know how you guys feel about memorabilia, especially when it pertains to your row partner. So we searched some online auctions for some Danette-related gear. Let's get ready for another edition of Worth or Worthless. We will show you an item that recently sold on an online auction. You simply need to tell us its value within $20. The first item is for you, McLovables. It's a Fritz the Cat mini statue. Fritz was the first animated feature to receive an X rating in the United States. Sounds like our little Todd Fritz. McLovin, your guess to its value.
I like that thing.
Wow, Fritz the Cat. That was the guy in the movie, the famous cartoonist. I've seen
Ralph Bakshi.
$29.99. Yes, $29.99.
You were just shy. It's $150. Sorry. To the front row, and Seton. It's an original Pabst Brewing poster from 1896. With this poster, Pabst introduces the world to a scientific brewing process, even compares their brewing process to a medical procedure. Seton, what do you got?
$345.
You just move the decimal point over one to the left. It's $34.99.
Did the same thing last week.
It's wild.
How about that?
By one decimal?
It was Robert Crumb I was trying to say before.
Yes.
Okay.
Crumb. Right.
Fritzy, your turn. It's been long established that your row partner looks much like Andy Dick. So why not have an autographed picture of that every day? It's a signed 8x10 of Andy Dick during his run on Dancing with the Stars. Don't worry about it being counterfeit either. It comes with 2 certificates of authenticity.
2.
Todd, what's a McLovin worth?
2.
How much would you pay for that autographed Dick?
I can't imagine that being more than $6.67.
You're within range. It is $20. Bravo.
$20.
Nice.
There's one victory for you today. And the final item is for Paulie. This is a perfect combo between Seton and Fritzy. It's a book by Patrick O'Connor. It's called No Poem for Fritz. Patrick even autographed his Fritzy Bastian memoir, which works out if your name is
So
Dorothy. Paulie, your guess to its value.
Wow.
How odd is that?
I think it's 1 of 1 produced.
We have to get that.
We do.
I'm like $15.
The actual value of that is $58.12, which means Todd Fritz, you win. Pat yourself on the back, but not on the shirt. I don't want any more stains on there. Stay with us. The battle of the box score rages on. We are back here and closing up shop on the box score. Fellas, if you can believe it, we are at week 14 of the NFL season. And there are some great matchups this weekend, but only one we care about here on the box score. Let the battle commence.
The Danet Football Night in America Challenge.
We have an epic matchup this weekend. The Patriots fly to the whale's vagina there in San Diego to take on the Chargers with Tom Brady at the helm and Phillip Rivers taking snaps. And they're both at about 3,200 yards right now for passing, roughly 25 yards apart. So this week we're going to have you guys guess who's going to throw for the most yardage for 1 point, an additional point for closest to the pin for yardage amount. And you know what the hell, for the third point, let's go guessing Tom Brady's post-game wardrobe. Paulie, how about you start us off?
Oh, that's a lot to deal with, Brock. I can't believe I have to lead off. I'm going to go, man, Rivers is a yardage guy and a loser. He'll probably go for 312. Tommy will be more efficient. So I'm going to go 312 and Rivers. And now what's the next guest is...
Tommy's outfit.
Tommy's outfit. Now, where is the game? San Diego or Boston?
San Diego.
Wow. I'm going to go with something in a higher taupe region. I'm going to go a very light taupe turtleneck. Even though it's San Diego, it's still winter, and Tommy knows that winter means sweaters. Just because you're in San Diego, you don't dress like you're, like it's summertime. Don't be don't wear a Tommy Bahama. So I'm going to go like a taupe turtleneck.
I'm going to jump in there. I'm going to say Tommy Brady. And because the Patriots lost last week, and he usually comes back with a vengeance after a loss, he's going to throw for about 350. And he's going to go classic, dark suit, white shirt, collar open. Now, I know he just did that recently.
That's usually after a loss, isn't it?
I think he's because it's warmer weather San Diego. Now, part of me thinks he's going to go with a gigantic burly sweater that you're like, why would anybody wear that in San Diego right now? I think he's going to go with a classic clean cut, maybe a little pocket square or something like that. Wet hair.
Okay. I'm going to go Phillip Rivers because I think they will be losing and he'll rack them up at the end, sort of similar to Paulie, but I'm going to go with a higher number. I'm going to go with 357. No, 347. 347. Tommy is going to wear like your wedding suit. What was that color? Tan suit with a white shirt, pocket square. Boom.
That's pretty dope. Wrong season.
Yes.
Not in San Diego.
I'm going to go Rivers 283, and I'm going to say he's going to wear some type of wool maroon V-neck. Do they make wool V-necks?
Merino wool.
Exclusively.
Some type of V-neck maroon sweater that kind of the reddish, like the Patriot reddish, not like bright red, not like
it's actually
not
cold on
Rutgers
the
red.
West.
You know what? I don't think we've actually fully explored your sort of fashion fetish enough on the show.
Go ahead.
It really is just amazing your knowledge of clothing.
And how much
Not only that,
how much I don't know.
but the mild obsession with other people's clothing.
It's a great point.
We really need to spend more time on this.
Well, yeah, my first job, actually, not my first job, one of my first jobs was a nice men's store called Backracks. I was 17 years old, I worked there, and I learned about a lot of stuff. I learned how to like sew a hem and stuff like that, and I learned about suits and ties, and I really liked it. I enjoyed it. And but I really find that because your clothes are your personal expression. It says how much you care or how little you care. And so I just, and plus we're in a place where we got 7 dudes in the building. I can pretty much remember what everyone wears from day to day.
Dude, you've told us your odd jobs maybe 1,000 times.
Backracks in Chicago.
1,000. Now all of a sudden you can.
Paulie can make you a suit if you need
You're
one.
a haberdasher. What the heck?
Haberdasher.
Okay.
You can ask anyone.
I need to guess here, guys.
After that, I left to become a cobbler out of the nice leather
Some
shoes.
like cobbling. No, I worked at Back Racks in the Lincoln Square Mall near Chicago Heights, Illinois, a long time ago.
No Chess King?
No, that's.
I love Chess King.
Yeah, I know you do.
Gems. Love it.
I am going to go with
Six
Tom
pants.
Brady throwing 341 yards. In the post-game interview, he will wear just a plaid shirt, a checkered shirt, blue and white.
Whoa, which one? Plaid or checkered?
I'm checkered. I said plaid, but no, he wouldn't wear plaid. He'd just wear a checkered shirt.
Don't try
open.
to edit that at the end and say you said plaid.
Yeah, no, it is a checkered shirt.
And are you saying also no jacket over it?
No jacket, just the shirt at San Diego. The sleeves will be rolled up just like this, and he's going to look amazing. Don't forget to tweet us your guesses to @TheBoxScoreShow at the hottest hashtag in the universe. It's hashtag BSFNC. Fritzy, who is on next week?
God willing, Chris Rock will be part of things Monday. We may hear from our friend Tony Dungy. We'll play off the NFL and college football games. The selection rankings, the final rankings by the committee come out Sunday, so we'll have appropriate reaction to that as well on Monday once we figure out who that person will be after the conference title games.
Fingers crossed. Thanks for watching The Box Score. You can find us here on Audience Network on Channel 239, 3 p.m. Eastern. See? James Benson, it's right there. It's Spice Rum. Oh, also catch the podcast available on iTunes or podcast1.com. Cheers, Mr. Benson.
I don't know a lot about sports, but I can drink a lot of beer.
My motto is simple. C's get degrees.
Need a long, inappropriate hug? I'm your man.
I think I'm smarter than you because I probably am.
Hey, thanks for watching The Box Score. Holy cow!